to JPX Energy Market Weekly Updates. Oil prices cracked lower at the start of last week, but rebounded on Thursday and Friday on U.S. inflation data and news China has eased some COVID restrictions, while uncertainty over Russian supplies is also seen as lending support for oil markets. China announced major changes to strict COVID-19 measures for inbound travelers on Friday, reducing quarantine time on arrival from 7 days down to 5, followed by 3 days of isolation at home. And the so-called circuit breaker mechanism on inbound flights, which was seen as a major barrier to visiting China, would be abolished, bringing an end to a policy that saw the snap closures of flight routes if a certain proportion of passengers tested positive for the virus. What's more, arriving travelers will now be allowed to enter the country after showing just one negative PCR test within the 48 hours before boarding. That means more international flights will be starting off, which is in line with a sharp increase in the number of international flights of winter and spring flight schedule. An easing of restrictions was also announced within China, with the length of time spent in central quarantine for close contacts reduced to 5 days instead of the previous 7. Besides, close contacts to people who have been in contact with someone who tested positive will no longer have to undergo quarantine and medical surveillance. In the latest developments, new COVID cases continue to rise in China. The latest outbreak was seen as curtailing all demand in the short term, but supply-demand balance is set to tighten once China bounces back. Most analysts maintain the view that China could reopen in the second quarter of 2023 when all the necessary medical preparations are done. Take another look at Asian giant consumer India's situation. The latest data from India's Petroleum Planning Analysis Cell shows the domestic oil product demand grows by 3.4% year-on-year to total 18.37 million tons in October, the highest monthly number since June. Gasoline consumption grew by 8.8% year-on-year, while diesel consumption increased by 5.5%. Cumulative product demand in the current fiscal year stand at 126.12 million tons, up 11.8% year-on-year. So far, India's economy has been largely impervious to global economic headwinds. Middle East benchmark Dubai crude eased slightly over the week, despite having rebounded strongly on Friday to claw back most of the week earlier losses. However, the strong rebound in flat prices only slightly lifted Dubai market structure, while premiums were edging up despite spot demand still being seen as sluggish. The prompt first month and third month spread nudged up to $3.60 a barrel on Friday, while JPX Dubai crude settled at $3.32 a barrel. On the supply side, traders were looking for developments in the Russian price cap, which could curtail export in the new year, with Moscow reiterating it will not supply countries operating within the cap. China and India remains the main destination for Russian crude in the wake of the Ukraine war, accounting for 58% of all seaborne Russian crude export in October, according to Standard & Poor's global tracking data. China remains a primary destination for Russian barrels in October, despite shipment falling to an average of 904,000 barrels per day from 918,000 barrels per day in September. Shipments to India rose to a record high in October as its refiners continued to snap up discounted barrels of Russian Urals and asphalt crude streams. But the availability of an unregulated tanker fleet to redirect flows and local refining slate constraints are limiting factors. Most market analysts expect Russian production shut in as a result of the new export hurdles to peak around 1.5 million barrels per day in the first quarter of 2023, but with ease as more section workarounds are found. This is likely contributed to a fall in global oil inventories during the first quarter of 2023. The Brent and Dubai cash spread soared to 5-month high amid fears of a European supply crunch. The relative fall in Dubai values come despite the headline OPEC Plus production cuts of 2 million barrels per day, which the Middle East would make almost all the actual 1 million barrels per day cuts for November and beyond. As refineries return from maintenance season, crude qualities will be increasingly important, with medium crudes, which tends to have the highest middle distillate cuts, benefiting the most from firm middle distillate cracks. If there is an increase in economic activities that require consumption of more middle distillate oil products, then it's expected that the demand for Dubai will go up, leading to a shift in the Brent and Dubai spread, and vice versa. In the medium term, mounting economic headwinds for the global economy will erode oil demand growth next year, as the EIA sees global oil demand growth in 2023 some 320,000 barrels per day lower than it previously expected. As for the calendar this week, OPEC will release its monthly oil market report later today, and this will be followed by the IEA monthly oil market report on Tuesday. Okay, that's all we have for this week. Welcome back next week.